Hello people, this is Power here with a review of the DX BeyonDriver from Kamen Rider Zi-O. This is the main transmission device of Kamen Rider was. I'm not gonna. I've already talked too much. So as you can see, there's the BeyonDriver Kamen Rider was. I think he's a pretty interesting design. He's probably one of the few third riders that I was actually okay with. The was Mirroride watch, as that's what he uses. Kamen Rider was Henshin. Just the typical stuff. DX BeyonDriver. Kamen Rider was. Kamen Rider was. Nice picture of the bottom and all the stuff that we're gonna do. And yeah. So I just forgot to film something for the demo. So let's just get on with this. So here's everything that comes in the package. Obviously you get the BeyonDriver itself, the WAS Mirroride watch, and then the belt pieces. So we're just gonna look at the belt pieces first because I don't remember how I do this. So unlike the GQ driver, these are actually new. These are just completely like neon green. Not as neon green as X8, but pretty blinding, but I actually really like it. And these are much more thinner than the GQ driver ones. They're all cast in one color, so nothing, no worrying needed. And as you can see, the motif here. And then, unlike Zi-O, we actually get a new back piece. So that's, again, pretty neat. I'm just going to form this already, just to get it out of the way. Just pretty typical of Rider. So, we're going to snap the left one to here, and then snap the right one to here. And there we go. It matches really well with the BeyonDriver, so I appreciate that. Obviously, we're not going to keep them on because I want them straight, and if for some reason you actually want to put it on the GQ driver, it's actually not possible, which is pretty interesting because or you can put it on, it's just a bit more difficult because of the fact that GQ drivers holes are just way more bigger. Yeah, I can't seem to actually tab it in, so that's interesting. So this will be back with the other belt straps, and putting this back to the side. So here's the BeyonDriver itself. As you can see, there's a mirror right there, so you can see my ride watch corner. So this is where you're going to insert just ride watches in general. There's two buttons, there's another button here, and there's a button there. There is a unique mirror system just like the Gamer Driver, which is why this is literally the Mega U-Loader and the Gamer Driver combined together. The motif of the BeyonDriver is basically a digital watch, which is why it has a projecting gimmick, which I do find random, but well, speakers are here. It's mostly black with neon green and some blue. Here's the Kamen symbol and then Waz's symbol. The back is not much. Again, just like the GQ driver, there's the belt characters, but it's just covered with trans stamps and the on and off switch. And here's the back of the handle, in which basically the handle just works like that. Again, like it's a reverse Gamer Driver, so, and obviously it's pretty bulky if we compare it with the DX BeyonDriver, because obviously the DX BeyonDriver is pretty tiny compared to the BeyonDriver, which is kind of funny because it's, I don't want to say it's normally the other way around, but whoops. As you can see, the width between here also, it's more flatter and bigger than this, as this is kind of small. But you know, BeyonDriver is pretty bulky, I think because of the mirrors, but as you can see from there. So that's basically it for the BeyonDriver. We're gonna move on to the next thing, which is the primary gimmick of this, the Woz MiRide watch. MiRide watches, basically the name is just, if I don't know if you call it a pun or not, but it's basically MiRide and watch, or in ride watch. So MiRide is future, as we learned from Gates. So it's future ride watches, which is pretty interesting, but they're not as explained, because like I'm not sure if this is supposed to be from the other future or if 2068 actually does have MiRide watches, but because then shouldn't Gates be a MiRide watch? But anyways, so MiRide watches have full-on faces. So as you can see, Kamen Rider Woz, obviously his face has, or his visor has Rider and katakana, not hiragana. But then unlike Zi-O, I don't know the stylistic difference. I think it's just more, I want to say bubbly, but it's not bubbly. It's, I can't really tell what's really different. Like I just can't describe it. Unlike Zi-O and Gates, his is just straight up black, but his, along with Zi-O and Gates, is for the right side specifically. So as you can see, the speaker here and this, the buttons are just silver, just like how, or just, they're just silver. The QR code for Butba Gamba, and then the track is 031. And you can see some gaps, or a gap here. So the button is not as, or the button is really pressy because of what we're going to do next, in which to open this up, we press this top button down and press the button. This doesn't really like opening up. And as you can see here, this is the interface for what is to project out the BeyonDriver, and this is how you have to get the tab out. As you can see, it's just badly curved. So to close it in, you just close in the right and then the left, like so. And then to activate the sounds, obviously just like ride watches, just press the button. So that's the MiRide watch announcement. And then just like ride watches, we will get a description. So I'm confused on, like, because technically later on as we go through, like, they're not, unlike the ride watches, they're not descriptions. Like this one technically is, but it's just a, it is a description. It's just one that I think is kind of generic. Anyways, if you press it again, it's just the ride watch announcement because his time machine doesn't have a sound. So obviously if we hold this down and do that, it will actually open up for once. But this is just, this opened up, and then if you press it, obviously it will just do that. But as you can tell, the image is flipped because of what the mirror system works in the BeyonDriver. So let's just get that right out. So here we are with the BeyonDriver. Unlike the DX BeyonDriver, we don't have to raise it up. On and off switch back here. There's actually no, it doesn't actually, lights don't appear when you turn it on. It just does that. So obviously when you do this, nothing happens. So to obviously transform to Woz, we have to activate the ride watch. Then we insert it through this slot here, which is pretty interesting, but obviously once we insert it, we'll have some magic. So this will start lighting up, and then obviously you press the mirror ride watch button to open it up. So this will keep flashing until you close this in. So there's transformation of Kamen Rider Woz. I apologize if you can't see the Woz image, as obviously you can see it there, but I think it's my camera, because I actually tried dimming the lights, but nothing happened. And obviously it fades out. It's actually a real long time. But see, as you can see here, there's the image of it reflected, but again, I apologize if you guys can't see it. I'll try to fix it in post, like mask this section only and dim it somehow if I could. But anyways, obviously the size of this driver is pretty bulky, so it looks a lot better enclosed, but it's just a lot. So obviously to do the finisher, just open this again. So then this will produce new standby. This will just light up until you close it. So like how Zi-O has time break, Gates has time burst, Woz has time explosion. Okay. So then we're going to weigh this one out just because. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you open it again, it'll do the finisher, but you just pull it out. So ride watches are actually able to be compatible with this. Why did that have to be oddly phrased? So because it was advertised, we will get billed. All you do again is just slot them in like so. No lights corresponding with this. And this will play until you close it. And that's it. So there's not really much to that. So I'll show with Zi-O, actually Gates, because he's a future rider. So again, same process. Nothing happens with Gates until you close it. So as you can see there, this just lights up. And then obviously if we do it with Zi-O, we can even like change it to like that. So yeah, again, just like the Decade Ride Watch, you literally just put the watch in standby because of this, or this button being held when it's closed, so it's just automatically going to do the armor time. So yeah, let's use Woz and other things. Because we have this here, we can use the Mirror Ride Woz and Mirror Ride Watch and the GQ driver. And do the weapon sound. That's, yeah, the thing with the Mirror Ride Watch is that they're kind of finicky in here. Woz typically is not, but I don't know why he's acting up. He's not supposed to do the weapon sound. He's not supposed to do that early. But yeah, these watches are really finicky to play around with in here, so he'll play the standby from the BeyonDriver. and then this screen will just, and then it will produce this new screen, which is not producing any sounds. So while this thing actually does have lights, this thing will say new. This thing is trying to do the next thing, so we will just do that. So, okay, so this thing would do Beyond the Time. This thing will just say attack in green, because green's the generic color for some reason. Anyways, let's just use it on this side, because spoiler alert, it will actually function. And then technically the way, like, if you just normally press it down, no sound will play, but because of the fact you have to lift it up a bit, so you have to get it off of this button, and then then it will actually play sounds. Again, Moz typically is not finicky with me here. He's normally finicky here. And also, like, you can press this if you want. But he's technically not supposed to. He does have weapon compatibility. And last but not least, I'm just gonna zoom it in because to be cheap, he can be inputted into Decade, but he would just do a standby. So as you heard, Decade, or he does the he actually wants to be read. He says Kamen Rider, but it still does the echoey voice. It's not like the Ride Gadgets, the Ride Striker, that's generic and such. So that's, again, pretty neat. So overall, that's basically it for the BeyonDriver. It's basically the same verdict as the GQ Driver. I'll actually admit, it's a pretty decent toy and such. I think the advantage that this has is that, because of the fact the gimmicks are electronic, that they can just kind of continue doing them, but they're not going to because they're cheap they're cheap like that. I don't know what I was trying to say. But definitely it does have a less functionality than the GQ Driver, because the GQ Driver is just kind of more visually fun just because of the screen and such, but this one, technically, like, they do make the screen thing and such, but I also do like the fact that this essentially is the GQ Driver, just how things work. Obviously, you insert the ride watch, then you press the button on the top, so you press these two buttons, and then obviously you spin this and you close this. So I do like it's generally the same thing you're doing. It's just that, you know, it's just, I don't know, I guess it's just not as fun, but then honestly spinning it's kind of like more hazardous. The mirrored watches are pretty decent. It's just their one huge flaw is the spring, the opening gimmick. Like, it's fine, but then it's like, Watch is one of the few mirrored watches that actually wants to be closed, because most of them don't want to be closed, and just the functionality in the GQ driver just kind of fails because of that. Obviously, for the BeyonDriver, if you just have ride watches and such, then it won't be as, like, you know, fun. Just because of the fact, like, you know, if you have a type of watch droid, if I can actually put him on, you can't, like, obviously some ride watches won't work. Ride Striker actually does something cool in this, but I'm not gonna reveal it just because it doesn't fit, and also I actually want to, like, contain it, and obviously Decade doesn't fit, but overall I think the BeyonDriver is a pretty neat driver to pick up. It's I think you can get it for cheap on AmiAmi. It is only $45, so I think that's a alright price for it, but I would recommend getting other MirRide watches. So this is PowerRider, and I'll leave you people. Bye.